Go ahead and get started, everyone. Thank you for your patience. This is the Gary Sanitary District meeting. Today is Friday, March 7th, 2025. Will everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next we'll have roll call to establish a quorum.
Commissioner William Allen.
Present.
Commissioner Ola Morris. Present. Commissioner Maurice Mabon.
Present.
Commissioner Will Cook.
Present.
Commissioner Frida Graves. Present. Attorney Jewel Harris Jr.
Present.
Executive Director Reagan Hatcher.
Present.
Finance Manager Jerome Foster.
Present.
And that's the end of roll call.
With all present, we do have a quorum. Next, we have certification pursuant to Indiana law, section 5-14-1.5, -6.1. I certify that prior to the start of today's meeting, there was an executive session held, and nothing was discussed in the session that was not indicated on the posted notice. That being in compliance with Indiana statutes, there were no final votes held during the session. Does any member dissent? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. We have an election of officers.
Mr. President, I'd like to, if it's okay, we're in March,
Yep.
and normally we would have the elections, they would be in January. I'm of the mindset that I'd like to make a motion to retain the offices as currently held. I don't know if any other commissioners have an opinion on that, but that's my opinion as far as the election.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to second it.
Okay, we have a motion and it has been seconded to retain the officers. Is there any discussion, any comments or questions? Okay, hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Graves. Commissioner Cook.
Yes.
Commissioner Mabon.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris.
Yes.
Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, we are retaining the officers for 2025. Next, we have minutes. What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to accept the regular meeting minutes of February 21st, 2025.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and properly second for approval of the minutes for February 21st, 2025. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call for approval of minutes.
Commissioner Graves. Commissioner Cook.
Yes.
Commissioner Mabon.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris. Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 4 ayes with 1 abstention.
With 4 ayes and 1 abstention, the minutes have been approved for February 21st. Next is new business, 2.1, payroll. Mr. Foster?
Thank you. I make a motion to approve GSD payroll earnings for period ending January 27, 2025 through February 9th, 2025 in the amount of $244,368.86.
Okay, we have a staff recommendation for approval of payroll in the amount of $244,368.86. What is the pleasure of the board?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second it, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second for 2.1 for payroll. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Graves. Commissioner Cook.
Yes.
Commissioner Mabon.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris. Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, payroll has been approved. Next under new business, 2.2. This is a motion for the GSD resolution number SD 25-10. Ms. Hatcher?
Thank you, Mr. President. I recommend that the board approve the GSE Resolution 2510 establishing board compensation. This would rescind the previous resolution, number 2055, which was adopted in 1998, and this resolution is in regard to board member compensation.
Thank you. Okay, after hearing the overview and staff recommendation for 2.2, what is the pleasure of the board?
So moved, Mr. Chair, and I'd like to state also, Mrs. Hatcher, thank you for taking that into consideration. The board compensation hadn't been addressed since 1998. Some of you all probably weren't born at that time. So I really, the board really appreciates you bringing that to the forefront.
Thank you. We appreciate you all's hard work.
Although we'd like to have a little more, but
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
I second it, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call for 2.2.
Commissioner Graves, Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon,
yes.
Commissioner Morris, Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, 2.2 has been approved. For 2.3,
Mr. President?
yeah,
I would ask that the board defer 2.3 to our next board meeting. We're tying up some loose ends.
okay. What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chair, per the request of our director, I would like to defer this until our next meeting.
Okay, motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Graves, Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris, Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, 2.3 has been deferred to the following meeting. Next, we have 2.4. Ms. Hatcher?
Mr. President, thank you. 2.4, we're recommending approval of an award to bid to Mobile Solid Solutions, amount of $331,600 for the cleaning of digester. Number 4, our engineer Jabez Anderson is available for more comments and any questions.
So Digester 4 is full of sand, sludge, and grit, causing a major reduction in the ability of the plant to process solids. Digester 4 needs to be cleaned in order to increase the ability for the plant to treat solids, loosening the bottleneck within the wastewater treatment process. The cleaning of Digester 4 will increase the overall water treatment capacity, helping GSD conform to the long-term control plan. Moreover, there was a IDM violation May 1st of 2024 for Digester 4, and so we're trying to clean that in order to appease that. So I recommend that the cleaning of Digester 4 by Mobile
Mr.
Solid
Anderson,
Solutions.
can you just say when the last time this digester was cleaned or how often we do this? I know it's very often.
The last time, from my understanding, the last time it was cleaned was so long ago that most of the people that work here now don't even remember.
Wow.
So how many digesters do we have?
8.
How many are operating?
How many in operation? I want to say 6, 5 or 6. Yeah, 5. Six. Primary.
Thank you. Okay, after hearing the overview and recommendation for 2.4, what is the pleasure of the board?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
I second, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and seconded for 2.4. Any other discussion?
I just had a question. Do we anticipate, at this particular cost, do we anticipate planning any other digesters? Or is this essential? Is this an essential one?
Yeah, so there are 2 more digesters that possibly will need to be cleaned. We're trying to inspect to make sure that we bring all of the digesters back online in order to increase our our solids treatment capacity. This is all in regards to meeting that threshold for the long-term control plan.
Is it the same cost?
Yeah,
Okay. So it may not be in this particular range? Okay. All right, thank you.
And you have to remember, this one has been down because of this cleaning, so the other ones that are actually still operational, so we have the other 2 that are still down, but just getting one additional one online, I'm sure will greatly improve our process.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, could we please have roll call for 2.4?
Commissioner Graves, Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris, Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, the award of the bid for mobile solid solutions in the amount not to exceed $331,600 has been approved. Next, we have 2.5. Ms. Hatcher?
Yes, thank you. So we have 2.5. We're recommending a change from Main Saver, which is an older software system that's being retired at the end of this year, and we're recommending replacing it with OpenGov. It's the system that the city uses. We should be able to tie in pretty easily. The cost for initial setup and programming cost is $188,693.12. And if there are any questions, Brian Cossey, our head of procurement, I think is here, can come up and answer any questions.
What is Main Saver costing us now?
And he can, once he gets up there, he can speak more to it, but Main Saver is being ended, and so right now we are paying for support, but that will also end at the end of the year.
When you say ended, I mean Main Saver is going out of business? Or?
Absolutely. So Main Saver was purchased by another company, and they will no longer support what we have. So the option would have been to go with the new company which is Omnia something, that does not give us really what we need. So we actively looked for, me and Matthew, which I wish he was here,
Mr.
but
Cossey, can you just briefly tell us what Main Saver does?
Main Saver is an asset management program. So it keeps a record of our assets, and as well as in the maintenance department, it also keeps track of the work orders and the work orders, right? That, it keeps track of what we need to do every day and keeps it in order. That software is ending. What we have now is antiquated and it's about to end. I don't know, and to be transparent with you, I do not have an answer for you about what we spend on Main Saver every year. And maybe Jerome might
Well,
be
it
able
probably
to
doesn't
answer
matter
that.
if they're ending
Yeah,
their relationship.
this is correct.
A replacement. This is because at the end of the year, we have to have something different. Matt Hankel, who is our IT manager, did all of the research. We looked at 3 different ones, and the integration of OpenGov from GSD to the city just seemed to make the most sense. They were all priced around the same, so it wasn't a big pricing difference.
And one additional thing with OpenGov, their reporting elements work very well with finance. And so we'll be able to maintain our current systems that we have in order to produce purchase orders in timely, and that's how we do them. So that was another big key point with them.
Do you expect any transition challenges?
It's going to take about a year.
Yeah. So in closing, OpenGov was the best suited software for us, and it was the cheapest. They're Omnia partner, so we got the Omnia pricing on that, which gives, Omnia is a contract that is for governments throughout the United States. So they gave us the best price as well. And if you have any questions, I have the representatives of OpenGov here to answer any further questions.
So the price before us is the initial cost, the startup cost.
That's correct.
So what we'll be looking at moving forward, let's just say year two, we'll be looking at a different number.
It's about $50,000 a year, but I'm going to let them answer that question because they have the numbers in front of them.
All right. Good afternoon, Board. Appreciate the opportunity to speak today. To answer your question, the ongoing cost, Brian is correct. It's about $52,000 a year. This is for the asset management and the procurement software.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Anything else you wanted to add, though? Or?
I was just going to say, we greatly appreciate this partnership. When we first came on site with the team, it was a really great fit. We have entered into a great partnership, and we're really looking forward to helping the district out and replacing a system that essentially is helping you guys operate. And in our system, our core values at OpenGov are operational efficiency, and that's what we hope to do for the district. And so we're really excited and really thankful for the partnership.
Absolutely. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, after hearing the overview and recommendation for 2.5, what is the pleasure of the board?
So moved, Mr. Chair, and I just had a question. Is this something we're going to be doing immediately?
This is approved, they will start our implementation, but transferring over our system. One of the things we've been talking a lot about with the board is a warehouse, and that's one of those things that we need to make sure the information is clean before it goes into the new system. So we're working on all those aspects to make sure that when we're finally able to begin use of OpenGov, we have, good information in to get good information out.
Okay, what is the pleasure of the board for 2.5?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I second it, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Graves? Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon?
Yes.
Commissioner Morris? Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
Oh, what? 5 ayes and 0 noes. 2.5 has been approved, which is the award of bid for Vertosoft, also doing business as OpenGov, in the amount not to exceed $188,693.12. Next, we have 2.6.
2.6 is a motion to approve and ratify, or we're recommending that you approve and ratify the award to LGS Plumbing for the repair at 4232 Rhode Island Street in an amount not to exceed $128,100. This is another example of us implementing a in-house small repair department.
Madam Executive Director, I just have a question here. I'm looking at the, I guess these are the quotes, and I see, well, where LGS is $126,000, and on the second page, I see where METS is $122,500.
Here we go.
So there was a discrepancy. That discrepancy comes from the change in the procurement process. So It was bidded out, but not publicly bidded at first. And so that was put out for bid, and then those bids came back at the price that you're seeing there. The current one that was put out publicly after the procurement process changed reflects the amount that was stated by Director Hatcher. So that is, I have a copy here.
So if I can just go back, we had a procurement presentation, thank you. I don't know what's going on with me today. A procurement presentation about how we should procure projects. I think what the practice was just calling a few of our local or regularly used vendors and getting pricing. But we're talking about $150,000. We should be putting that out publicly and allowing those bids to come in. This was one of those situations where we were caught between the old way and the new way. And so when we went back and did it properly, this was the bid that came in. What we're trying to do, the idea is to engage additional bidders. We don't just want to reach out to LGS or METS or the ones that we see here all the time. We want to start getting other people involved. We already don't have a Gary company to do the work, so we don't have to be constrained by these few bidders. We can get people from further away if they're willing to bid on these projects. Along with that, we are working to make sure that on these emergency projects, these emergency issues where we have a cave-in or where somebody's yard is backed up because of our sewer system, that we have the staff on hand to be able to execute that project without having to go this route. I think the idea is having a leader or a team leader that has the knowledge and the skill to at least be able to repair a sewer line from manhole to manhole, at least 20 feet. Most of these things end up being about 10 feet repair. So I had a talk with collections, and we think that maybe with the right equipment, a few pieces of equipment, and someone with that knowledge, we can do these things in-house. Currently, we spend about $1.5 million a year on emergencies. These are unplanned projects that we have to, jump to and get done right away. And so sometimes we get stuck with costs that are higher than they should be. And I think that's what we keep seeing here. We've seen maybe 4 since I've been here. So we're cleaning up the procurement policy, but we're also trying to bring emergencies in-house. It's gonna be a little, we're trying to get to a level path.
And I understand that. It's just that when we have these two figures, and it's only almost a $4,000 difference, that they're not the lowest that is being recommended for approval for today. So we just need to understand, like, why we're not being recommended the lowest bidder.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say I can speak to that. So METS was encumbered with work for GSD. They stated in their notes that they would complete the work or start the work what does it say? A few weeks before mobilization. They would start it after they completed all of their other GSD projects. So, so in order to have this, exactly. So in order to have this answered in a timely manner, we recommend that LGS.
So they're not available. They wouldn't be available.
So at the time of bids, they were not available to do the job in a timely manner. And so that's why we recommended LGS, because they would be able to respond quicker to this issue.
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, after hearing the overview and recommendation for approval of LGS Plumbing for a not to exceed amount of $126,000, which is 2.6, what is the pleasure of the board?
Move for passage, Mr. Chair.
Second?
Motion's been made and properly second. Any other discussion? And again, just for the record, I guess, 4 contractors responded. The first was Met Sewers Plumbing and Pumping LLC in the amount of $122,500. LGS Plumbing, $126,000. AJ the Plumber LLC for $164,000. Gary Up Construction Company, am I reading them? Let me see. So strike that for AJ the Plumber. All right, Met Sewers is $123,900. LGS Plumbing is $128,100. And Gary Up Construction is $163,700. So instead of the amount of $126,000, it's $128,100? Okay. And so I guess
So it
we'll,
went from 126 to 128?
Yes, it did go up, because of the timing. First did old procurement ways, we did, because it was the last one.
You comfortable with that? All right.
okay. So I guess for the motion that was made, the amount was $126,000, but it's supposed to be $128,100.
So you have to amend the bid, attorney?
You mean the motion? You modify your motion to correct it. Oh, you said the correct one?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we didn't though.
Yeah, we're looking at the numbers.
Yeah, so let's just clarify the motion, just so that it's clear that the amount is correct. I don't know who made the motion, but whoever made it.
Who made the motion? Oh, look, basically, the motion is as
It was
stated.
Mr. Cook.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd like to change the motion as stated
okay,
by our director here.
all right.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion's been made and properly second to amend the motion that originally stated $126,000 for LGS Plumbing. It would be approved to now $128,100. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Graves. Commissioner Cook.
Yes.
Commissioner Maybach.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris. Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, LGS Plumbing has been approved for a not to exceed amount of $128,100 for repair work within the vicinity of 4232 Rhode Island Street.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have number 2.7, recommending the approval and ratification of an award to Midwest Service Center for emergency repair of the 1,000 horsepower WEG motor number 3 for $54,840. And I'd ask our plant superintendent, Tim Austin, to say a few words about this. And as he's coming up, I'd like to congratulate him. He was awarded the University of Illinois Civil Environmental Engineering Alumni Association Young Alumni Achievement Award.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So basically, we have 2 large blowers. They're 1,000 horsepower, blower 4 and blower 3. Howden, the manufacturer of those blowers, had come out here in February and January to repair and do mechanical work and controls troubleshooting on all of our blowers, because we were having issues last year from the summer all the way into the fall in terms of the operations of the blowers, where they would ramp up or operate in a way where they would maintain their DOs as well as meet the demands of the flows that were coming in on a day-to-day basis. So the operators were having to run the blowers a lot locally or in hand. So it took a while for Howden to come out here to do the work. When they came out here in February and also January, they completed the mechanical repairs and upgrades of parts that needed to be replaced for blowers 1 through 4 of our 4 blowers. as well as a controls tech coming out here and making sure our PLCs and our controls are communicating properly via our SCADA and through the system. But they did find the issue with the motor for blower 3, which was outside of their scope to address. So with that being said, we had to get the blower 3 1,000 horsepower motor repaired with another vendor, Midwest Service. And based on those repairs, the price came out to about originally $45,000 or a number close to that. But they came back with an additional quote saying they needed more additional service repairs in order to complete the repair of the motor 3 for the blower. And when that's done, we'll have all 4 blowers ready to go. And that's the only blower that's been out of service since Howden has come out here. The other 3 blowers have been working well in auto and remote as designed. So once we get blower 3, we'll be able to have another large blower in capacity. If we have a large flow event or blower 4 has to go down for whatever reason, and we still need a large blower, we would have 3 ready to go as soon as this motor is repaired. And they're supposed to come back out here to do the installation and finish the job the week of March 17th. So that's just some context about the blower 3 motor situation.
This is not sole source, is it?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Austin.
All right.
So we've heard the overview and recommendation for 2.7. What is the pleasure of the board?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Motion's been made and properly second. Any other discussion?
Just had a question. When those blower motors start to malfunction, is there like a warning or something, or an alert in the system that you know they're failing?
So usually we have alarm systems. I mean, not usually, we have alarm systems for all 4 blowers. So there's a lot of alarms that we can handle and take care of in-house, like a high temp oil alarm or a low oil temperature alarm or a motor bearing issue.
The alarms specify what needs to be.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And they shows it on each of the PLCs for each of the blowers. So there are things that we do in-house. Like this week we had blower filters changed because we saw we had a high oil alarm on a few of the blowers. And then once we take care of that, the blowers return to their normal function. But some things are outside of what we can do in-house, like a internal motor issue. Yeah.
There's no furthermore questions or discussion.
Just one last thing. When the alarm goes off, how are you notified? By one of the people that are working, or does it go into your cell phone, or does it? Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations. Roll call, please, for 2.7.
Commissioner Graves, Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Maybach,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris, Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, we have the approval of repair work from Midwest Service Center, any amount not to exceed $54,840. Next, we have 2.8. Ms. Hatcher?
Yeah, so, and Ms. Cousins is here. I'm not sure if she wants to come up, but we are asking for the approval to destroy non-permanent GSC records. This is 158 boxes, and it is consistent with our retention schedules.
Okay. Yeah, that's short and sweet. What is the pleasure of the board for 2.8?
Mr. Chair, move for passage.
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call for 2.8.
Commissioner Graves. Commissioner Cook.
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris. Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, 2.8 has been approved. Next, we have claims. Mr. Foster?
Thank you. I recommend a motion to approve GSD claims 452 through 630 in the amount of $492,060.01.
Okay, what is the pleasure of the board for claims?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Motion's been made and seconded for approval of claims. Any discussion?
I just had one, and you're doing a good job of cleaning up the claims, but I'm noticing on here from 10/7, Agaria. Mr. Foster, do you know what that, is that a lost invoice, or invoice just didn't come in time, or what? In fact, I think there's 3 on there for Agaria. No. Well, you might as well look at 533, 534, and 564. Okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please, for claims.
Commissioner Graves. Commissioner Cook.
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris. Commissioner Allen.
Yeah.
The vote is 5 ayes with 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, claims have been approved in the amount of $492,060.01. Next, we have information updates, plants, superintendent's report. Mr. Alston?
All right, so first I wanted to talk about just some of the O&M updates that I have as of today. I submitted this report on March 4th, but I did add something that took place earlier in the week that I didn't add to the report that I sent out at the end. So, and then Zach, I'll start with that actually. So I did put in a request for bid for chemicals, for disinfection chemicals of hypochlorite and bisulfite. Our disinfection season is starting up on April 1st and it goes all the way up until October 31st of this year. And we wanted to, this is something we were working on last year with COLA, and now this year we wanted to put out a request for bid for other vendors to participate in giving us some competitive pricing for chemicals of hypochlorite and bisulfite. And I'm hoping to have those sealed bids submitted to the board by the next board meeting on the 21st, so we can make a decision of whether or not we continue with the same vendors or we go with a different vendor who has a better price and maybe is a little bit closer to our facility if possible. So that's
Those are one-year bids, right?
Yes.
We have an option to extend it a year.
Yes, that's how we've been doing it in the past, having an option. Whenever the contract's up in a year, the vendors will reach out and say, do you want to extend it? And they might offer a discounted price at that as well, which is what happened with our hypochlorite vendor, Rawell, last year.
I just think during the year, we don't, once we get our bids in, we don't test the market to see whether, for example, we don't do managed futures to check and see where the prices are during the year, do we?
I've started doing that process in terms of looking at what other plants in the Northwest Indiana Operators Association that we're associated with, what their prices are like. A lot of them use the same vendors that we do, PBS and Rawell. So I did have a couple of new companies I never heard of reach out and say they would like to participate in the bid. So now that we know what the prices are last year and what others are getting in this area, I'll be able to make a determination whether or not it's a good deal when we get those new pricing, or if they're higher or lower or whatever.
There's a company in Indianapolis that reached out to us a while back called May Chemical. You familiar with them?
You said made?
May Chemical out of Indianapolis, minority-owned chemical company.
And it's made, like M-A?
Yeah, M-A-Y, yeah.
Oh. Definitely want to try to support minority businesses if we can. I'll definitely look into that and send it to, if I can get a contact from them, I'll send them the request for bid, see if they want to participate. Okay. All right, so the next thing is the gravity belt thickener repairs, or GBT. Maintenance has completed phase 1 of our in-house repairs of our gravity belt thickener, which we use to waste solids out of our plant. The belt had a tear in it and needed to be replaced earlier this week. Juan and his crew, they replaced the belt earlier this week and allowed operations to continue wasting solids from the plant for continued processing. Additional in-house repairs are going to need to be done in terms of replacing the bearings, some rollers, and a gearbox, which will potentially have the GBT down for 1 to 2 days. So since we didn't have all the materials or things ready to do that this week, we didn't want to hold it up. We're going to start reevaluate and plan to do it at a different time when we can knock it down for 1 to 2 days and it won't affect our operations. The next thing, we had a Northwest Indiana Operators Association meeting here last week in the boardroom on Thursday. A representative from Wessler Engineering presented on how utilities can protect themselves from cybersecurity threats. I mean, we all know we faced that in 2022 or 2023 here, and we've since then, upgraded and made our system more robust. But it was still a pretty good meeting, learning about, how there's different softwares out there for different companies that can train you on how to protect yourself from cybersecurity threats, how to realize it, and what you can do to prepare yourself. So these meetings are, they're pretty beneficial. Lunch and learns, you get to meet with other operators, other plants, see what they're doing, and you get a technical CEU credit, which is important for operators or those who want to maintain the certifications at a discounted price. And you get lunch as well. So definitely welcome any board members who want to come and do a lunch and learn next time we have it here at GSD or another plant nearby in the Northwest Indiana area. Get free lunch and get to, see what other plants are doing and learn more about some industry practices. So for operator certification training, there are some efforts I'm making to attain additional quotes for instructor to come on site to do a hybrid situation where there will be on-site and a virtual option for operators who are looking to get their Class 1 certification. We have about 6 operators who are operators in training, and even though they do have materials to study and learn on their own in terms of books, practice quizzes, and things that and on-the-job training, it would be beneficial for an instructor who is trained to do this to come in and kind of help them with studying, learning what's important, what's not important. Because some of the operators, they really know how to do the job and what to do here at our plant, but may not have the best study skills. So I think having a certified trainer come in would be beneficial to help facilitate that process so we can get more of our operators trained quicker. So I'm still looking to get 2 additional quotes for that process. I already obtained one in talks with Alliance of Indiana Rural Water, looking at a 8 to 12 week, 4 to 6 weeks per group option here in the boardroom and virtually. So still looking to see how that's going to pan out. All right, for safety committee and tailgate session. So I'm a part of the GSD safety committee. I'm representing operations. We have a representative out of maintenance already, Perez. So we're actually we're restarting doing safety tailgates throughout the plant. Nate George and Maurice and Brian, who's the chair of the safety committee, we came to that conclusion that we need to restart doing safety tailgates to keep people aware of the hazards and things going on in the plant and make sure that we're not, just to keep it fresh in our minds. So this week it was a safety tailgate on PPE, personal protective equipment. Nate and Maurice and the team and Jasmine, they all did a safety tailgate with maintenance, and I plan to start the safety tailgate with operator staffs here on site on Friday, and then continue it next week since we have alternating shifts. For compliance and regulatory reporting, the consent decree semi-annual report was submitted on time on February 28th, as well as the February monthly discharge monitoring report that was submitted on February 28th as well. And in terms of operations staffing and training, so we're almost fully staffed for operations. We have a couple more interviews next week to fully staff the night shift that only has 3 operators. So far, the new hires that we have hired so far have been very diligent. They've been working well, learning fast, I would say, under their supervisors. So once we have a night shift that's fully staffed, it would reduce the need significantly for overtime when we have a shift supervisor or an operator on a short-staffed shift who needs to take PTO. We wouldn't have to use OT in that situation. So by next week, we should have all of our staffs fully, all our shifts fully staffed. And last thing, so we have Comline, Sanderson technicians out here. They've been here since January, taking apart our 2 belt filter presses, which are the huge machines in dewatering that dewater our sludge before it gets hauled off to a landfill. Those 2 presses haven't been utilized belt press 4 hasn't been utilized in over a year and a half, and belt press 3 has been down since late last year. Comline Sanderson, it was their presses from the beginning, so we brought them in to repair and rebuild the 2 presses that we haven't been utilizing, and they've been working diligently on taking apart the press, refurbishing the parts, and we're still waiting for more additional parts to come in from the manufacturer in the next coming weeks so they can finish the job. But every day I check in with them to make sure they're on task. If they need anything from our maintenance team, like a crane or additional grease, we make sure we hand it to them. But they came prepared with most of the materials they need, and they're working diligently on it. So we should have belt press 3 and 4 rebuilt and done, hopefully by the end of this month. And that's all the reports I have for the board. Are there any questions or anything I can expand on?
Good report. Good report. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Next, we have construction activities for Mr. Anderson.
Mine's gonna be short and sweet. Due to the due to the nature of the weather, there is not much to update. Everything is holding at stat quo. We have, as far as cave-ins go, 4427 Kentucky Street. The repair is done. We're still waiting on the CIP lining. 2216 Massachusetts Street and 4311 East 12th Place are both in progress and being worked on as we speak. And that is pretty much my update for construction.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Anderson or comments? All right, thank you. Short and sweet. Next, we have discussion. Are there any items or topics that any of the commissioners would like to discuss at this time? Okay, are there any requests to speak?
No, sir.
Okay, is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chair.
All right, meeting adjourned. Management District meeting. Today's Friday, March 7th. Could we please have roll call to establish a quorum?
Director William Allen.
Present.
Director Ola Morris. Director Maurice Mabon.
Present.
Director Willie Cook.
Present.
Director Frida Graves. Attorney Jewel Harris Jr.
Present.
Executive Director Reagan Hatcher. Finance Manager Jerome Foster.
Present.
And that's the end of roll call.
Okay, with 5 directors present, we have a quorum. Looks like certification isn't applicable since none of the items discussed in executive session pertain to stormwater. So we'll move on to election of officers. What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to duplicate the request from the GSD meeting. I'd like to make a motion to retain officers in place at this particular point in time.
Okay, we have a motion to retain officers for stormwater. Is there a second?
I second it, Mr. Chair.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Director Graves, Director Cook,
Yes.
Director Maybon.
Yes.
Director Morris. Director Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, officers will remain as they are. Next, we have minutes.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to accept the executive session and regular meeting minutes of February 21, 2025.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
I second, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second for approval of minutes for the executive and regular meeting for February 21st, 2025. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Director Graves, Director Cook,
Yes.
Director Maybon.
Yes.
Director Morris. Director Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 4 ayes and 1 abstention.
With 4 ayes and 1 abstention, the minutes have been approved. Next, we have new business 2.1 payroll. Mr. Foster.
Thank you. I make a motion to approve GSWMD payroll earnings for period ending January 27, 2025 through February 9, 2025. Any amount of $9,466.95.
Okay, we have a recommendation for approval from staff payroll in the amount of $9,466.95. What is the pleasure of the board?
Move for passage, Mr. Chair.
Second, Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second. Any discussion for payroll?
None here.
Hearing none, roll call, please.
Director Graves, Director Cook,
Yes.
Director Maybon.
Yes.
Director Morris. Director Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, payroll has been approved. Next, we have 2.2. Ms. Hatcher.
Thank you, Mr. President. So 2.2 goes back long before I was here. There are 2 level 1 EV chargers at a lot owned by the Gary Sanitary District on Lake Street. Those 2 level 1s at the time were helpful to those who had electric vehicles, but over time, they have become obsolete, basically. It takes too long to charge. We're not charging anybody to charge, and so we have them there, we're using the power, but we're not getting any return on our investment. So a few weeks ago, I asked Michael Morgan to take a look and see what would it cost to put out 2 level 2 charges, higher power level 2 chargers, and what could we charge for the charging of vehicles at that location. First, let me just talk a second about the 3 different levels. So there's a level 1 charger, which comes with most vehicles now, that you just plug in at home. They're very slow if you just plug them into your regular, same plug that you're going to charge your phone into kind of thing, and they're just very slow. Then there's level 2s, which are much faster. Maybe 60 hours for a level 1 could be 10 hours for a level 2. Then a level 3 is maybe 1 to 2 hours for a full charge. Level 3s, though, require the installation of a transformer at the location, which is very expensive. And so that's why you don't see very many of them around. So what our proposal is basically to upgrade our level 1 chargers to level 2 chargers and begin to charge people who use them at that location. Now, the reason why we're asking for a not to exceed is because once you all say yes, we'll have the company come out. They have to evaluate the sites, look at how much power can be run to them, so they can tell us what we will be charging people to charge there, and also what it's going to cost us to install them there. So it's kind of step one, but we wanted to make sure that the board kind of knew what was happening over there. But Lake Street has kind of become this row of restaurants, and very well patronized restaurants, and so it could be a little bonus there in that parking lot.
There'd be a small revenue stream.
Small revenue stream, not huge. It usually runs about $50 per amp, 50 cents per amp. And so you might get a full charge for about $30.
We own the lot, right?
We own the lot, we own the current chargers that are there. They're just sitting there, and it's really becoming a kind of thing, especially on Lake Street. There's a lot of walkers in the summer. People walk to the beach and all that. So it's kind of a cool place to be able to park your car, charge, go to a restaurant, go in the little shops or in the stores. Hopefully just something else to draw people to the city.
In addition to that, do we have the capacity to do charging stations here at this facility?
Yes, actually, we're working on that now to see, we have a grant coming in for, I think, 3 electric vehicles. They'll probably end up being pickup trucks. So we're trying to figure out where those would go. And they come with their own chargers, usually level 2s. So we would have to make sure we have 220 plugs, either in the bays or close to the bays. Yeah. But we're not set up for that, but we can easily be set up for that.
Mr. President?
Yes.
So when you do nail down what the pricing would look like, we just need to get a resolution before the board to establish the fee.
Sounds good. And also, all companies that provide these things, or we buy them, if you use them to charge people, they usually take 10 to 15% of the revenue. So just kind of keep that in mind as well. They charge to charge. Yes.
Okay, so just to be clear, we have a total of 4 charging stations, or I guess the ability of needed to acquire 4, but that one level 3 charger, that one's kind of still.
That is definitely not on the table yet.
Okay.
We do not want to, if we have to install our own transformer, if there's not a transformer that's close enough to that lot, then we will not be installing a transformer.
Right.
Yes.
But at least if you do decide to move forward with it, it's been
there.
approved. If we, okay.
Sound like I'm gonna be sticking with gas.
It is very reliable, Mr. Maybach, very reliable.
Very old school up here. Okay.
Okay, so we heard the overview and recommendation for 2.2. What is the pleasure of the board?
So move, Mr. Chair, not to exceed.
Not to exceed $81,143. Is there a second?
I second it, Mr.
All right, motion's been made and properly second. Any more discussion? All right, hearing none, roll call, please.
Director Graves, Director Cook,
Yes.
Director Maybach,
Yes.
Director Morris, Director Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, 2.2 has been approved. Next, we have claims 3.1. Mr. Foster?
Thank you. Make a motion to approve GSWMD claim numbers 28 through 31, in the amount of $56,121.49.
Okay, we have before us a recommendation for approval for claims in the amount of $56,121.49. What is the pleasure of the board?
Move for passage, Mr. Chair.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made and properly second. Any discussion for claims?
Yeah, I just had a question. Is this being paid out of ARPA fund?
No, these are not being paid.
These aren't a part of that.
No. That's actually one particular vendor, Mr. Maybach, and that would be Grimmer.
Any other discussion or question? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Director Graves, Director Cook,
Yes.
Director Maybach,
Yes.
Director Morris. Director Allen.
Yes.
The vote is 5 ayes, 0 noes.
With 5 ayes and 0 noes, claims have been approved in the amount of $56,121.49. Next, we have information updates. We have MS4 updates from Ms. Brenda Scott Henry.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I only have a brief update for you. Just a reminder for Mrs. Morris and Mr. Cook, our MS4 team coordination meeting is scheduled for Monday at 1 p.m. We'll be in the small conference room. During that time, we'll review all of the MCM reports from our team members. We will also have Metrics Environmental there so that we can have updates on the annual report. You know, at the last meeting, we went thoroughly over the whole annual report. We've given out assignments. Team members have been collecting that information. So we'll review a draft. After the draft is finalized, we just have a few more items to get. Then we'll submit that annual report with our board package, and you'll review it at our next meeting. This report is due to IDEM on April 1st, so it gives us time to have you review it, and then we can submit it, which requires the mayor's signature as well. We are also, we've updated we're working on updating the technical standards, which we're almost done. Just a few more things we need to tweak. We need to make sure we review it with the engineering department, and then we'll be presenting that also to the board for review. And then finally, as the stormwater quality management plan changed due to the permit, we also have to change the way we're doing reporting. So starting in April, you'll see that our report format has changed. On Monday, we'll review how each team member is supposed to collect their data. And this data is collected, each month. So we have to change the way we do it. But it helps us to make sure that at the end of the year, when we have to do our annual report, it's easier for us to compile all that information and submit the report without any delays, except for the information that we need for the city, of course. So we'll always have to do that piece. But that's all I have to share. If you have any information that we'll be out. On Monday, we'll be in the Etna neighborhood for the demolition projects that are going on. We have staff that are assembling packages, and we'll be handing out some of that information, particularly about the pollution prevention, stormwater pollution prevention, what you can do, the rain barrel program, and the household hazardous waste collection day event. So that's the information we'll be sharing with the general public. If you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to respond.
Any questions, any comments?
All right, thank you.
Next, we have a discussion. Are there any items or topics that need to be discussed? Are there any requests to speak?
No, sir.
All right, is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned.